So I qualify for a Missouri liar. I wasn't born in Missouri and I don't live in Missouri, but I grew up in Missouri, so that makes me grandfathered in to be a Missouri liar. And I have to agree, Missouri liars are great liars. So, a couple of years ago, I had a really bad accident. And my family all thought I was dead. I thought I was dead too. I was in the hospital for 4 months. And let me tell you what happened. My husband and I were both retired, and I told you earlier I wanted to be a farmer, but it was too much work. But we do like to take it every spring. We like to go out into the country somewhere and rent a little house and spend a few days just in the countryside. So a couple of years ago, we found this place in this little town along the Missouri River. And the town was up on a bluff, and our house was back behind the town, and if you went through the town, then you can come out on the bluff over the Missouri River and then go down and around, and follow the river on down. And we had been there about 3 days, and the house that we rented came with bicycles. But my husband, he wouldn't ride them, but I did. So I would get on the bike every morning and I'd go and I'd have coffee in the little town in the coffee shop. And then I would head back and, read a book, work on my stories, whatever I do during the day. And one day I decided, well, it'd be nice to kind of go down to the overlook of the bluff before I went back to the house and just enjoy the river. And so I headed on out of town the other direction from where we were staying. And I stopped and I got off my bike and I'm looking out over the bluff, over the river into the fields. And I'm watching an eagle soar, and she comes and she lands in the big trees by the river, and I think, I bet she's got a nest there. After a few minutes, I thought, well, I better get back. My husband's probably starting to worry about me. And so I got on my bike and I start to turn back towards the house, and I look down the hill. And I remember what it was like when I was a kid, and I would go down those big hills on the bike. Do you guys remember that? Get on the bike, you'd go down the hill, the wind would be blowing. When I was a kid, I would actually take my feet off, and maybe even your hands if you're really, well, so I thought, I'm going to do that. And then I thought, wait, no, you're old. You don't need to be doing that, but I didn't care. So I got on my bike and I start going down the hill, and it's one of those touring bikes. It's not like a racer. So you sit up straight and you hold on the handlebars. And it was wonderful. And it's everything I remembered from when I was a kid going down this hill. And the wind's blowing and I'm laughing. And I come around the corner, which I couldn't see until I got to the bottom. And there's the Magruder's farm. And the farmhouse is on one side of the road and the barn is on the other side of the road, and the chickens are all crossing the road. What a chicken do, right? So the chickens are all in the road and I'm going like crazy on this bike, and there's no way I can stop. And the rooster has just enough time to turn around and raise his wings and squawk at me, and I'm plowed right into them. Oh. Yeah, so my bike's broken, the tires bent. I fly over the bicycle handles, do a flip, and land on my back in the middle of the road.
Wow.
Yeah, it knocks me out. I could have very well been dead. Anyway, the poor rooster, he's laying in the other ditch. His neck is broken. He's dead too. Mr. and Mrs. Magruder come running out. Oh, my chickens, Mrs. Magruder. It's kind of like her chicken. She's a little flighty. So Mr. Magruder comes over and looks at me. And of course, they told me this afterwards. I don't remember. She says, I think she's dead. We might as well get the chickens up. So they got the chickens up, came back, and they can't find one. Mrs. Magruder's prize laying hen. They can't find her anywhere. So finally, Mr. Magruder, he calls 911 and the EMTs come. And, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to work with the EMTs, but there are some fine young men.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm really sorry to miss that part. Anyway, I'm laying in the road dead, or at least I might as well be. And they come over and they're just kind of poking around, talking and laughing. And one of the EMTs, and he feels and he says, wait, I have a pulse. She might still be alive. So they get me on the gurney, and when they raise me up, there is Mrs. Magruder's chicken. And her head, her fine laying head, her head is buried in my head. So, yeah, so, I got this chicken hanging off the back of me. But she's still alive, and so I'm alive, she's alive, they're afraid to remove it, because that's your brain. And you don't want just anybody, even fine looking EMTs, you don't necessarily want them messing with your brain. So they take me and Mrs. Magruder's hen to the little country hospital. And they call my family, and the Magruders all come because she really loves that chicken. And after a couple of days, me and the chicken are both still in a coma. And so the country doctor comes and talks to my family, and he says, we don't really know what to do. We think we need a specialist. And we have called a world-renowned neurosurgeon, a brain doctor. And you know what they say, that's not brain surgery, but this was brain surgery. So, or maybe it's rocket science. Anyway, they say, we have found this neurosurgeon who's willing to come and consult, and he will come and maybe he can fix your wife, and she can wake up again. So he comes and he does the consult, and they look at me, and he talks to the other doctors, and he comes in, and of course Mrs. Magruder's right there because she's determined that she wants her hen back. Yeah. So they come over, and he says, yeah, I think I can save your wife, but unfortunately I don't think I can save the chicken. So Mrs. Magruder's all sad, but my family, they're hopeful. The one thing is, though, as he's walking away, the local doctor, he says, I just wanted you to know that his name is Dr. Frankenstein. And so my family's kind of taken aback by that, but what options they have. I'm in a coma, can't get any worse, right? Well, I guess I can die. So he operates, it takes a long time. He decides that he cannot, in fact, save the chicken. But he doesn't want to take the chicken out of my brain either. So he takes the chicken's nervous system and the chicken's circulatory system, and he hooks it up to mine. So, and about 8 hours later, he comes out and he says to Mr. Magruder, I'm so sorry, we couldn't save you again. But he does think he saves me. Of course, I'm still in a coma, but a couple of days later, I did start waking up. However, I did have a few quirks. Because I was having chicken thoughts. And her name is Chicky. And she and I have quite some conversations sometimes. She does not like people, so she won't come out when there's as many people around. But if you see me acting funny when I'm walking down the street, I'm probably having a conversation with her. She likes bugs, but she really loves the opposable thumb because chickens, they don't even have hands, let alone opposable. So she's become quite the cook, and we're getting ready to have a little family gathering, and we're gonna have the Magruders, and we're gonna have Chicky's family and my family, and I tell you, farmers, they are the best cooks. We're gonna have some really good food. And Chicky has been practicing, and she makes this June bug casserole. It's amazing. The only thing is, there won't be any fried chicken.